Alright, Dean Davison, liveweatherblogs.com, meteorologist here. Afternoon outlook update is going to be mainly on the tropics and a system named Irene. Let's take a look. This storm is wailed on the island of Puerto Rico, knocked out the radar for a while. Now it's sitting here north. It's going to look like it's going to go north of Hispaniola. Yeah, we'll have some interaction, so there will be a little bit of disruption, but you can see this is nicely rounded. It has a nice outflow, and it's also making a nice west-northwest movement at this current time, and this is going to go right for the Bahamas coming up in the next 2 days or so. Here's a look at watch warning. We have hurricane warnings now in the Dominican Republic, hurricane warnings for the southern parts of the Bahamas. We have hurricane watch in parts of the Bahamas, and as you see, this system has it moving north of the islands and trying to make the northerly turn. It's a major hurricane. We're talking Cat 3 over the Bahamas. Then anywhere from Florida up through Virginia, because remember the Outer Banks stick out like a sore thumb. Once you pass the 75, once it gets inside there, you're in pretty bad shape anywhere on the southeast coast. So once it moves past the 75 and continues on a west or northwest movement, you're in pretty bad shape. And this could be a major hurricane, as in Cat 3, Cat 4 landfalling time. Anywhere from the Florida coast all the way up through North Carolina. Should be vigilant. Actually, Virginia, even in the Northeast, should be vigilant on this. And the reason I'm saying that is the landfall. If the landfall made landfall at this point, the hurricane center has now on South Carolina, this would move inland, then up through the area where I'm located here in Roanoke, Virginia. And then even if it made a northeastern turn as it made landfall, it would still affect this entire area of Virginia, North Carolina, parts of West Virginia, New Jersey, Delaware, and further off the coast. The reasoning is this thing is a large, very large storm. It takes a lot of space, so the wind field's going to be a lot bigger. So it's a lot of stuff we got to watch here over the next few days, and you will see that here at liveweatherblogs.com. There's a lot more updates going on. We're getting very active. Please comment. Please let me know what you're feeling about this system as we sit here and forecast it here at liveweatherblogs.com. Maximum sustained winds to 80 miles an hour, so it's strengthening. And we get a new advisory coming in soon, an intermediate advisory, and then a new advisory coming in at 5 o'clock. And I hope to have a new blog up a little after that time. See where everything goes, you know. At 8 o'clock, past 8 o'clock tonight, we'll get the new GFS runs and stuff like that. We'll be able to really get a grasp over the next 2 days on what's going to actually happen with the storm. And like I said, this is going to be a major incident at this point. We're going to look at the GFS. We looked at this yesterday, and it's very similar to yesterday. I mean, the GFS has been 2 days very close to each other. I mean, this is very, very little movement on where the GFS took this. Remember, GFS yesterday has maybe a little, and I mean slightly to the west of where it is now. You see, this would at this point at 93 hours be affecting Florida with hurricane strength winds. Okay, and then move it into the Carolinas. My point here is, if it makes the northerly turn here, here's your trough trying to dig in here to make this bump. Even if it did that, at this point we have Roanoke in some tropical storm force winds. We have all North Carolina being bombed with winds at this current time. So here's the issue. This is a huge storm. And as I said, this trough here it's not even going to be a deep trough, so it's just going to have, this may have very little, it's more of a short wave, have very little effect on this system, but a slight north movement. And what's bad about today's run is it rides the coast, and there's New Jersey, and this is my point. This storm would be very bad for I'm gonna name cities off here: Wilmington, North Carolina; Myrtle Beach, South Carolina; the Triad; Roanoke; Richmond; Charlottesville; DC; Blank City; Philadelphia; New York City; Baltimore; Boston; Portland, Maine. I mean, these are all cities that could be affected adversely if it takes this path. It would affect all these locations that I just named with high winds, which is anything probably 30-mile-an-hour or greater in the inland areas. B, rainfall will be horrific. This is not going to be an extremely quick moving system. And C, extremely strong waves on the beaches. So that's just one model. Like I said, GFS hasn't deviated more than 100 miles really here, so it's looks pretty scary. And GFS is one that does switch. GFS has been for a couple days, has been very much grasping this, and the other models aren't too far off this scenario. Here's your H-Wharf model. And the H-Wharf model, as you see, very close to GFS's thoughts here. This brings it right into South Carolina, so not much of a difference of where these two come in based on the situation. So, and then we can do the same thing right inside here. And this is also trending. GFS has been trending good, so has the H-Wharf model. There's two that's been trending. Here's a double Z ECM WF model. This would bring it into the Outer Banks. Still have some effects inland, and this would still have the effects on Jersey, DC, in that area. And that's the only. This would still have adverse effects, and that's the way you gotta understand. This is a large storm, and the effects could be large. Your Irene run on the GFDL. This is still a much further, it's still a westward trending model, and this will bring Florida into the situation adversely. The Canadian, this would bring it much like this would be more of an Outer Banks storm and a coast rider. Still will give you adverse effects along the entire East Coast. So this thing has some serious issues, and we definitely have to keep an eye on it. So I would just suggest stay with liveweatherblogs.com, and we'll keep you updated. Myself, Mike DeFino, Mike Masco, Rob Reno, Wild Weather Kevin Riley, Nick Robertson, and Levi will keep you updated here on liveweatherblogs.com. For liveweatherblogs.com, this is meteorologist Dean Davidson. Have a great afternoon.